As part of the multi-tiered system of support, within this module, we are focused on Tier 1 services and supports, with the aim of promoting the positive social, emotional, and behavioral skills and overall wellness for all students. These activities might also include efforts to support a positive school climate and staff well-being. These activities can be implemented school-wide, at the grade level, and/or at the classroom level. Mental health promotion strategies are provided universally, meaning to all students and even staff in the school building, regardless of risk or protective factors related to mental health. So why should we promote Tier 1 services and supports? Tier 1 services provide the foundation of a comprehensive, multi-tiered system of mental health supports. Creating school environments and classrooms that are safe and supportive can go a long way toward helping students achieve their academic potential. Mental health promotion reaches all students, including students who are or are not at risk for developing mental health conditions, and those who already have a higher level of mental health need. So it truly benefits everyone. The majority of students will likely only need Tier 1 services and supports, with the skills learned and reinforced helping to build positive coping and well-being strategies. For students who need more supports, Tiers 2 and 3 can be layered onto Tier 1.
I think everybody wants to feel welcome and safe in school. I think that if you are going to a school where you don't feel safe or you don't feel welcome, not only can you not perform as well as you would normally, you're not absorbing the information. Like, school is supposed to be a place where you can feel comfortable and you can feel safe. And if you don't feel safe, then how are you supposed to, go in every day? You're not going to look forward to school if you don't feel safe. You're not going to want to be there. You're not going to want to put in effort and work, and you're not going to be able to learn as well as you would if you felt like you were welcome and you felt like you were cared about there.
SEL is important for kids because we want to address the whole child, right? We go to the doctor for physical health, and we want to make sure our social emotional piece is also helpful. So we want to make sure that we also addressing those needs, teaching students particular skills like empathy, problem solving, and not making the assumption like, hey, they should get that from home, but we're a school community, so we need to be supportive and teach those skills.
We've got to meet people's essential needs before we can get to the learning. And if we don't do that, we're never going to get the children to where we want them to be. We're never going to get to excellence. We're never going to get to pulling out the genius, because there's always going to be something holding these children back, holding us back. And we had to really focus on that this year. And moving forward, that was a huge lesson to learn during COVID. It was a huge lesson to learn. Are we meeting the essential needs? Like at our school, we do breakfast in the classroom. So our teachers, they get to carry up their hot breakfast and their milks and juice, fruit. And some of my teachers set their rooms up like little cafes. They put little tea lights on the tables for the elementary school kids. It's really cute. And they just sit like they're in a cafe, and they just talk about anything. The older students, they do a lot of their restorative justice circles while they're having breakfast in the morning and talking about just life. And that makes a difference for the student, and it builds such a level of community, and you learn a lot, because that's also an opportunity for a teacher to perk up and hear what a student wants to talk about and what a student puts on in the center of that circle for discussion. So, you learn little ways, little things to do to build that culture, build that community, but also being aware, that my responsibility is to be mindful of the needs of my students, and how do I create those scenarios and situations where I can do that kind of work that has nothing to do with teaching them how to read, teaching them how to write, teaching them any content area. It's really just about human relationships and human development.
What resonated the most for you in this video, and how does it relate to what is being done or not being done at the Tier 1 level in your school? These are examples of commonly implemented mental health promotion activities, but certainly do not represent a complete list of what is available at Tier 1. Take a moment to reflect on what Tier 1 strategy is working best in your school to promote the well-being of all students. What is it about this strategy that seems to be helping students? In what ways does your school currently meet the well-being needs of BIPOC and newcomer students? As we move to focus on school climate, think about some of the youth with whom you have worked. There are 3 primary components necessary for creating safe and supportive classrooms: engagement, which includes feelings of connection and a sense of belonging within a larger group; safety, the need for a sense of security and protection; and environment, the physical and instructional environment of the classroom. Now, engagement includes building strong relationships not only between students, but also between students and teachers, with families and schools, and strong connections between schools and the broader community. Safety involves creating schools and school-related activities where students are safe from violence, bullying, harassment, and substance use. And we want to remember that safety is not only about physical safety, but emotional and mental safety as well. The environment includes having appropriate facilities, well-managed classrooms, available school-based health supports, and a clear, fair disciplinary policy. Here are additional strategies that create those opportunities to promote safety, belonging, connectedness, and trust. Strategies to help build relationships with families and students include using all about me activities or worksheets, where families, students, and teachers share about their hobbies, interests, and goals. Proactively sending positive messages home in their family's preferred language. Communicating often and using multiple methods of communication to reach all families, including phone calls, written notes, text messages, and links to recorded video messages. Ways to show respect for diversity can include inviting families and youth to share about their cultural backgrounds, such as important holidays and celebrations, languages, and artwork. Acknowledging diverse cultures and identities in communications and lessons. Fostering a culturally relevant classroom that embraces cultural differences and assets. We'll talk more about this later in this module. Now, promoting school participation can include providing opportunities for families to give input directly to you and for students to share their ideas and questions during class time. Rewarding attendance and active participation with verbal praise and other rewards that are reinforcing to your unique students. Inviting caregivers to the classroom for opportunities to volunteer, teach a skill, or read a book.
What makes a great classroom? Understanding student perspectives can be key to creating a safe and supportive classroom. In this video, students of various ages discuss what they think makes a great classroom.
A classroom that makes me comfortable, it's kind of with books and stuff in it.
Not like a crowded area, like a comfortable environment.
The thing that makes students more included in the classroom that teachers can do is they can put posters around the room that makes things more interactive and more relatable to the students. They make it sure everyone can participate, and they just make it all very inclusive and interactive.
If everyone's nice and respectful, including the teacher and the students around you, it always just makes the classroom feel a lot more comfortable. And then also just an organized, safe, clean space is always great so you don't get distracted.
A comfortable classroom to me is a classroom that has
a part of what I like in it. For example, if I walked into a classroom, I would like to see something that I made or something that I did that represents myself in the classroom.
One of my teachers, they had secret handshakes with each of us. I don't know, we just felt really invited to come in because, well, he was everyone's favorite teacher.
Well, I would say a teacher would put groups of desks, about maybe 4, so each student would have someone to work with.
We could go up to the door, welcome their students, greet them by name, and make them welcome by that.
I really like a classroom with color, since almost every single classroom there is like white.
Let's take a moment to reflect. What resonates with you from this video? What makes or would make your school or your classroom welcoming for new students? Culturally inclusive practices and multiculturalism help promote safety in the classroom. Consider what a culturally inclusive classroom would look like for your students. Consider what images, symbols, and messages would be reflective of the diverse cultures and identities of your students. Also, think about how you can physically structure your classroom in ways that are sensitive to the needs of all students. Look at the picture and take a moment to notice different images and objects that help make this a welcoming classroom for all students. A couple of welcoming objects or images within this picture include the posters and artwork that depict people of various racial ethnicities and skin tone, and the flags from around the world. Think about if there's anything else you would want to include. How do we promote positive behaviors and relationships in school? The same way we teach kids how to read and write and do math, through effective, direct instruction. Setting school-wide expectations is often done in a matrix of how each of the basic expectations, such as safety, respect, cooperation, and participation, are demonstrated in different contexts within the school. What does safety look like in the cafeteria, in the bathroom, in the gym, in the science lab, on the playground? It is important to figure out what these behaviors are so students know what they are expected to do. Be sure to teach the expectations explicitly and use examples and non-examples to help students understand how the basic expectations are operationalized throughout the school. As with all content, material is best learned with occasional review of the expectations and with lots of prompts and reinforcement of positive behaviors. Student display of positive behaviors increases when there is consistency and predictability across classrooms. We are revisiting this slide to remind you that equity in a classroom will mean that students may need different levels of support to achieve positive behaviors and relationships in the classroom. There is not a one-size-fits-all. Another Tier 1 framework and process to consider is social emotional learning skill development for all students. Social and emotional learning, or what we often refer to as SEL, is the process through which children and adults understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. Adult teaching and modeling of positive social and emotional skills can be critical to student mastery. Mental health literacy has been defined as the knowledge and beliefs about mental disorders which aid their recognition, management, or prevention. It's comprised of 4 components: obtaining and maintaining positive mental health, understanding mental disorders and their treatments, decreasing stigma related to mental disorders, enhancing help-seeking efficacy, which means that related to mental health, students and staff would know where to go, when to go, what to expect when you get there, and how to increase the likelihood of best available care. Part of mental health literacy involves addressing stigma. School personnel can help address stigma in schools by providing accurate information, such as discussing mental health facts and addressing misconceptions in class, Talking openly about emotions and having regular conversations about feelings with your students, being careful and intentional with language can also avoid unintentionally shaming or causing discomfort. Incorporating the stories and experiences of successful individuals with mental health struggles can also help reduce stigma. Lastly, schools offer a natural environment to raise awareness about mental health through posters, campaigns, and other strategies. There are 3 widely adopted mental health literacy programs. The Mental Health in High School Curriculum Guide is available on teenmentalhealth.org and was developed in collaboration with the Canadian Mental Health Association. It aims to help teachers to be familiar with and comfortable with their understanding of mental health and mental health disorders and to share this information with their students. Teachers deliver content in classrooms about obtaining and maintaining positive mental health, understanding mental disorders and their treatments, decreasing stigma related to mental disorders, and enhancing help-seeking efficacy. 2 additional curricula include Youth Mental Health First Aid and Teen Mental Health First Aid. Youth Mental Health First Aid is an 8-hour public education course for adults which teaches participants about the unique risk factors and warning signs of mental health concerns in youth. It emphasizes the importance of early intervention and how to approach and refer an individual in crisis or contending with mental health concerns. Teen Mental Health First Aid teaches teens in grades 10 to 12 or ages 15 to 18 how to identify, understand, and respond to signs of mental health and substance use challenges among their friends and peers. Another mental health literacy program for school personnel is Classroom Wellbeing Information and Strategies for Educators, or what we refer to as ClassroomWise. ClassroomWise was developed by the National Center for School Mental Health in collaboration with the SAMHSA-funded Mental Health Technology and Transfer Centers. ClassroomWise is a 3-part training package with 6 online learning modules, a video and resource collection, and an easy-to-access website with helpful information. Modules are available at no cost and can help teachers better understand student mental health, make referrals, build safe and supportive classrooms, reduce stigma, and help support students experiencing adversity and distress. Here are the modules that are included within ClassroomWise. Take a moment to look at the different modules that are available. Another Tier 1 framework is restorative practices. Restorative practices is a social science that studies how to create, improve, and repair relationships between people and communities. Its goal is to build healthy communities by strengthening connections and relationships between community members, improving meaningful communication, fostering shared community values, and enhancing understanding and empathy. Restorative practices prevent and address conflict and wrongdoing by proactively building healthy relationships and a sense of community. Restorative practices can improve relationships between students and educators, and even between educators, whose behavior often serves as a role model for students. These practices promote inclusiveness, relationship building, and problem solving. Restorative practices not only reduce exclusionary discipline responses, but also promote a sense of safety and mutual respect on campuses by strengthening relationships, reducing bullying and violence, and repairing harm whenever possible. Examples of restorative practices include community conferences, community services, circles, conflict resolution, and peer mediation. Take a moment to reflect on how your school uses or could better use restorative practices. Let's reflect. Take a moment and think about how you're going to use today's learning to take action in your school or district.